In the last episode, I got right up to the start of Season 2 with Marseille, but due to me being a little bit under the weather and not being able to talk properly recently, as well as starting a new job working nights, it's been a little bit difficult for me to get videos recorded and edited and uploaded and stuff. So instead of the 4 or maybe 5 episodes you were going to get for Season 2 of Marseille, it's been boiled down to 1. So here is a review of Season 2 with Marseille. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel and welcome to part 9 of my Marseille save in the FM24 Beta. Like I said in the intro, things have been a little bit difficult, I've been a little bit under the weather, so videos have been less than forthcoming recently. But we have played out Season 2 and here is what happened, starting first with the transfers. I showed you all the transfers right up until the eve of this new season starting, but there were a couple more dealings done before the transfer window slammed shut, including one incoming, and that was Josip Stanisic, came in on loan from Bayern Munich for the season, valued at just under £6 million, and we do have the option to buy him. He has been very, very good for us, which you will find out as this episode goes on. 25-year-old Croatian international, plays anywhere along the back line, and is a very, very good player at this level, has the potential to become a leading Liga 1 player, and you may be seeing him sign for us permanently, but that's the decision to be made another day. As for outgoing, Samuel Gigo left on transfer deadline day at the beginning of September. My vice-captain decided he wanted a bit more game time. I couldn't promise it to him, especially the fact that he's 31 years old, getting a little bit older now, but I didn't want to ruin the team dynamics. Let him go out on loan. He gets to play more. I don't have a problem with my dynamics, and we can assess the situation when he comes back. And Jordan Amavi left on the 2nd of September to join Luton Town for £600,000. He wasn't with us during Season 1 because he was out on loan, and when he came back, looking at his ability, never ever going to get any game time for me in his 30s, so it was better to sell him to the first team that showed a bit of interest. Right, so that was the transfers out of the way. Now let's go and see what happened on the pitch, starting with an opening day trip to Clermont-Foot. We were second best for most part in this opening game of the season, but Ismail Assar found Vitinha, who broke away from the last man and put the ball in the back of the net for the only goal of the game. That was a 1-0 win, despite the fact that we were the worst team. We were outplayed for some of it. It was pretty even in parts, but I felt like we didn't deserve the victory, but it was an opening day win nonetheless. Convincing wins over Strasbourg, Brest and Montpellier came next before we went to Nantes and were 2-0 up with 55 minutes played, looking quite comfortable. But it soon changed. Castelletto pulled one back for them on the 68th minute and Carol Linetti, with 10 minutes left, got the equaliser, and despite the fact that we were the better side, we threw away 2 points, and that could come back to bite us in the arse in the title race. 3-0 win over Lyon came next, and that was followed by a 3-1 victory over Lorient, and then the most phenomenal performance we've put in since I took charge of this club, as we blew Lille away with an 8-0 victory. Leonardo Balerdi opened the scoring after the 3rd minute, Jordan Veretout added the 2nd. It was 2-0 at half-time, and even though we were the better side and playing really well, I was still worried that maybe they'd fight back in the second half. A penalty from Aubameyang on the 58th. Kondogbia on the 70th, Vitinha on the 72nd. It was 5-0, and we were pretty much out of sight. And then Vitinha with 5 minutes left made it 6. Kondogbia got his 2nd of the game with 3 minutes left, and Amina Harit rounded it all off in the 91st minute. An 8-0 victory, an XG of 4.49, and Lille didn't even manage a shot on target in the entire game. You see how bad they were. They had 2 players under a 6. Anthony Martial got a 5.8 and Thiago Giallo got a 5.7. We were absolutely brilliant. And if we could keep this form up, maybe we were champions in the making. That champions in the making idea went completely out of my head in the next game though, because we travelled to PSG and were outplayed once again. Gonzalo Ramos putting them in the lead on the 17th minute. Ousmane Dembele on the 24th made it 2-0, and Vitinha right on the stroke of half-time. We were 3-0 down, we were the second best, we were out of this game, and probably showing that we were out of the title race already. But Aubameyang pulled one back on the 46th minute. Moritz Kjærgaard made it an interesting closing stages when he scored on the 79th to make it 3-2. But Gonzalo Ramos on the 84th minute reinstalled their 2-goal cushion and it stayed that way for PSG 4, Marseille 2, and we were already losing ground in the race for the title. And here is what happened since then. A 4-2 victory over Monaco was followed by a 1-1 draw away at Metz. Then we beat St Etienne 3-0, beat Reims 5-0, then travelled to newly promoted Angers where we should have won this game quite comfortable, and we lost 2-1. We followed that up with a 1-0 defeat at Lens, and our title challenge was really hanging by a thread at this stage. A 2-0 victory at Rennes, a 2-0 home win over Nice, and a 6-2 victory over Clermont-Foot made the table look like this at the halfway point of the season. As you could see, we had a mountain to climb as we reached January the 1st, 2025. PSG, top of the table, unbeaten, 55 points, with a goal difference of plus 63. We were in second place, 13 wins, 2 draws and 3 defeats, 41 points and a goal difference of plus 38. A 14-point deficit and a 25-goal goal swing in the goal difference. I think that PSG were looking towards the title already. We may have looked out the title race domestically, but we were doing alright in the Champions League, finishing 8th place in the new league phase in the Champions League's new format that is coming in the 24-25 season. 4 wins, 3 draws and a 1 lone defeat away at Manchester City were enough for an automatic place in the last 16. It was back to league football in January and a 2-0 victory over Brest in our only league game of January. Vitinha and Thomas Lemar scoring the goals in the first 15 minutes. Mert Mulder went off injured in the 22nd minute and Ismail Assar missed a penalty late on. But it was back to winning ways and maybe, just maybe, we still had a chance of challenging PSG for the title. And while there was only 1 league game played during January, there were quite a few transfer dealings. Jonathan Klaus, Paul Arola and Ruben Blanco all left the club and were replaced with 3 incomings. They were 28-year-old Dominic Grief, the Slovak goalkeeper who signed for us for just over £5 million from Mallorca and is now currently valued up to £34 million. Very good player, good goalkeeping attributes all round. 6'6", aerial reach of 16, and he's got good passing as well, so he plays the sweeper keeper role very well. And he was a very astute signing for us. Bruno Petkovic come in for £3 million from Dynamo Zagreb as a backup striker. 30 years old, was never really going to trouble Vitinha for that starting place, but he can play as an attacking midfielder and as a striker and agreed to sign as a fringe player. So he was really a good signing and he's still valued up to just over £9 million, so we could cash in if we wanted to get rid of him and still make a little bit of a profit. And then on deadline day, we broke the bank and spent £55 million on 23-year-old Dutch international Quinten Timber. The other players, some of the more influential players in the team, demanded that I bring in more quality in the defensive midfield position, so that's what I did. I spent my entire transfer budget, the £55 million that we had, on Timber, the deep line playmaker, advanced playmaker, central midfielder, plays a defensive midfield, he can play in centre midfield, and he's been a brilliant signing for us so far. He's valued at over £100 million, so despite the fact that I spent £55 million on him, if I did want to get rid of him, we could get a nice hefty profit on him as well. 3 wins and a draw in February in the league led us to our rematch with Lille. We beat them 8-0 earlier on in the season and it looked like it might be going the same way when Ismail Assar put us 1-0 up after just 2 minutes in the away fixture. But 31 minutes played and Yilmaz got a goal to equalise for Lille. They weren't going to be denied and made to look like fools like they were last time. Although in the 51st minute, Mert Mulder put us 2-1 up. And then Vitinha, 2 minutes later, made it 3-1. And we looked like we might be running away with it until Anthony Martial found his scoring boots in the 56th minute to make it a little bit interesting towards the end of the game. And with just 3 minutes left, Jonathan David got Lille's equaliser, which they pretty much deserved, to be fair. They were much better in this game than they were in the first. But it was another 2 points thrown away. Pretty tentative start in the home game against PSG, but Maurice Kjaergaard got his head on a Lamar corner just before half-time. It was then second half started. PSG did look the better side in the opening stage of the second half, but that Vitinha header from a Sarr cross made it 2-0. Mbappe's good finish made it 2-1 though, and I thought that PSG were about to mount a comeback until 6 minutes left. Amina Harit broke through the box, struck the post, but Eric failed to get it away. Harit got the ball back to Lemar's foot and he put it in the back of the net. And then Amina Harit again was denied by the foot of Donnarumma, fell to Lemar and he found Vitinha, who found the back of the net and made it 4-1. And for the second season running, we've beaten PSG 4-1 at home in the league. Although we were still far too far behind them to say that this was our title challenge starting. And there is how the season finished. As you can see, we lost 4 of our last 6 league games. There were injuries galore. We were missing a lot of key players and it just wasn't to be for us. We got a 1-1 draw with Monaco after that PSG victory. 2-0 wins over Metz, a 2-0 win over St Etienne. But then it started to go all wrong. We lost to Reims, we lost to Lens, either side of an Angers victory. Then we beat Rennes and then lost to Nice and Strasbourg. Nice, Bruno Petkovic scored his first and only goal for us so far. And against Strasbourg, we were just second best the whole time. And that meant the league table finished like this. PSG, runaway winners, runaway champions, 90 points from their 34 games, scored 104 goals and only conceded 21. They were absolutely unbelievable. Last season, we managed to lose and throw away the title on goal difference. This season, we lost it by 19 points. We finished the season on 71 points. PSG were unbelievable all season. And when I thought they couldn't get better, they went out and signed Jamal Musiala and brought in someone else as well and did indeed get better. They are a phenomenal side and it might take quite a long time to try and overturn their dominance in French football. I think we missed our chance in season 1. I will probably try again in season 3, but I think that we might have missed our chance. A quick look at the French Cup shows you that we didn't really compete for that trophy either. 4-1 victory over Montpellier, a 4-0 win over Reims and a 2-0 win over Bastia got us through to the quarter-final where we took on Strasbourg and lost on penalties. We were a decent side in that game. We had a couple of chances that we should have put away. We didn't, and it come back to bite us via a penalty shootout defeat in the quarter-final, which quite disappointed the board and disappointed me, if I'm perfectly honest with you. So that meant our only chance of silverware this season was in the Champions League. If we were going to win a trophy, it was going to be the biggest one in Europe. We played Gladbach in the last 16. We went to Germany and won 2-0 in the first leg with 2 goals from Vitinha in the 28th and the 44th minute. We were the better side and it gave us a great advantage going into the second leg. Gladbach came to France on a mission though and went 1-0 up in the 6th minute through Hans Wolf. They were 1-0 up on the night. It was 2-1 on aggregate and it was squeaky bum time. But Leonardo Balerdi in the 24th minute equalised on the night, made it 3-1 on aggregate, and that is how it ended. And we moved through to a quarter-final of the Champions League to take on Arsenal. Unfortunately, Arsenal came to France on a mission. Gabriel Martinelli scored in injury time at the end of the first half. Gabriel Jesus scored in the 61st minute to make it 2-0 and we looked dead and buried in the opening leg. Although we had played well, like all you've got to do is look at the stats down there to see that the XG was pretty much even. It was a good, close, tight game, but Arsenal had taken their chances. We did lose Quintin Timber and Thomas Lemar, both injured in the space of 2 minutes. This injury crisis in Football Manager, the beta, is absolutely outrageous and it needs to be changed. If it isn't changed when the full game releases, I think there's going to be a lot of frustrated players, but that's a story for another day as well. Vitinha, in the last dying stages of the game, pulled one back. It was 2-1 to Arsenal. We lost 2-1 on the night, but we had a goal, we had hope, and we had a dream. Could we go to England and do the impossible? The answer to that question was a big fat no. We went there, we played well in the first half, but William Saliba scored in the first minute of injury time at the end of the first half, and then we lost Vitinha to injury in the 4th minute of injury time at the end of the first half. Basically, we were now 3-1 down on aggregate. We'd lost our top scorer and our only real good striker, and there weren't much hope left. And indeed, goals from Nico and Bukayo Saka in the second half rounded out a very one-sided win for Arsenal. 3-0 on the night, 5-1 on aggregate, and our Champions League journey ended at the quarter-final stage. Although it was much better than what the board wanted me to do, so we can be happy with that. So I'm not really sure how you'd rate that season. In the first season, we threw away the title on goal difference. In the second season, we were blew away by 19 points. But we did reach the Champions League. So was season 2 more successful than season 1? Or are we kind of going downhill gradually from that good, brilliant fight to the death season 1 title chase? I'm not quite sure, to be honest. I think doing well in the Champions League kind of masked over a lot of what was happening in the league. And I also think that if we didn't have the Champions League, we might have done better in the league because we got a lot of injuries. We had a lot of tired players that needed resting, and our squad just wasn't big enough. Talking about the injury crisis, here's how many we had this season. 61 injuries we had this season, although it was projected that we'd have 72, so we had less injuries than what we were projected to have, even though it felt like there was a player injured in every game or every other game. I mean, some games we lost 2 players, and it always seemed to be key players at key times. Like just before the Arsenal game, we got an injury. During the first leg of the Arsenal game, we got 2 injuries. Then we got another one. Just before we played PSG, we got an injury. It always seemed to be at the key points of the season when our key players, like Thomas Lemar, Vitinha, Kjaergaard, Ismail Assar, players like that, when those top players got injured and we left big gaps. I mean, there were at certain stages of the season, I was having to play 18-year-olds in the starting lineup because I didn't have cover. I'm not quite sure if it's all down to the fact that I haven't got a massive squad, but I've got the size squad that I can get with the money that I've got, and the fact that I can't just bring in 1.5-star, 2-star players to bulk out the squad when I have got the leaders of the team saying we need to have quality. So I'm kind of fighting a losing battle with the squad building, but the injuries are ridiculous. And as I said before, the injuries need to be sorted out when the full game releases, because if you're going to get an injury every other game, sometimes every game for a certain stretch of the season, it's going to get very frustrating, and a lot of players, especially the casual players, will just turn it off. What's the point of playing a game if you're just going to have injuries constantly and you bring in players and you just get injuries? I mean, people like myself who have been playing for years and years, other content creators and stuff like that, will continue to play the game because we have done for years. But those casual players, the newer players that you're trying to attract, are they going to stay playing a game where you've got injuries every game or every other game? I don't know. To be honest, I don't think they will. There are a few other issues that need to be sorted out before the full game releases in a couple of days' time, but that is the biggest one for me, the amount of injuries that there have been. But anyway, on another note, and I'm going to stop moaning, let's go and have a look at our season review and see who won our end-of-year awards. Mert Mulder was our highest average rated new signing with 7.3 from 39 starts and 6 sub-appearances. £12 million we paid for him, and he done very, very well indeed from fullback. 4 goals, 13 assists, like I said, a 7.3. But he wasn't our signing of the season. That award goes to Dominik Grief, the 28-year-old Slovak goalkeeper. 7.22 rating from 15 appearances. We brought him for £5 million. He's valued at a lot more than that. And he done very, very well for us. Josip Stanisic also got higher than a 7 average rating with 7.05. We paid a £575,000 fee for him to come on loan from Bayern Munich, and we got the option to buy it for just over £5 million. And I think I might be taking them up on that. He played 30 times for us, 3 goals, 3 assists from centre-back, and played very, very well. Quinton Timber, Morten Hjulmand, Bruno Petkovic and Bafode Diakite were the other new signings on this chart. Timber with a 6.94, Hjulmand with a 6.92, Petkovic with a 6.81 from the couple of games that he played. He mostly appeared off the subs bench, only made 2 starting appearances for us. So he was never really going to do extraordinary. And Diakite played 19 times, 10 starts, 9 sub appearances, but wants to leave the club because he didn't get enough playing time and he only got a 6.73. Maybe if he was a little bit better, he would have played a little bit more. Our biggest win of the season came at home to Lille with the 8-0 victory. The match to remember according to this is a 2-0 victory over Napoli in the Champions League. And the goal of the season was scored by Vitinha in the 72nd minute of that 8-0 Lille thumping. Our reputation has stayed the same and the most popular players among the fans were Lemar, Vitinha, Timber, Kjaergaard and Sarr. We made 8.73 million in total merchandise sales and sold 444,970 shirts. So that's quite a lot, isn't it? The how you lined up best 11 of the season is again not how I lined up. In season 1, it put Ndiaye in the attacking midfield position when he hardly played at all for me. And here we got Kondogbia in midfield when Kondogbia was pretty much a sub for most of the season. As you can see, he only made 5 starts for us and 32 sub appearances all season. So he was never going to be first choice. Never was first choice. I don't know how he's made the team of the season. But the team of the season, best 11 is Lopez, Mulder, Balerdi, Stanisic, Lodi, Hjulmand, Kondogbia, Sarr, Kjaergaard, Lemar and Vitinha. That was the team that is apparently my best team of the season. Although Kondogbia was never really a choice. Veretout played there for most of the season, right up until I brought Timber in, then Timber was the first choice. So, and also, again, it's got that my tactical style is wing play when I play gegenpress constantly. So, not quite sure how this works things out. Fans player of the season was Thomas Lemar. Young player of the season was Moritz Kjaergaard. Signing of the season, as you've already seen, was Dominic Grief. Goal of the season was Vitinha. Top goal scorer Vitinha with 29 goals. Thomas Lemar most assists with 20. Mert Mulder most player of the match awards with 7. Also, Mert Mulder got the highest average rating with a 7.3. And Leonardo Balerdi got 65 passes completed for a 90 for the most completed passes in a match. Record breakers, most assists by a player in the season was Thomas Lemar with 20. Mulder got the most player of the match awards in the season. Worst discipline, Morten Hjulmand got 18 yellow cards, but in his defensive midfield position, I think a tough tackler is what we needed there. Aubameyang broke the record for our oldest player at the age of 35 years, 306 days. Our highest transfer fee was broken. We brought Quinton Timber in 55 million. And Aubameyang was also the club's oldest ever goal scorer. The history in the making. Marseille struggled to find their best form at times, but were otherwise able to enjoy a campaign which saw them produce a highly respectable finish. That was from Nick Oblak for the Eurosport. And to be fair, he summed up our season quite well. So there you have it. There was season 2 of my FM24 Beta save with Marseille. We were further away from PSG at the top of the French table than we were last season. But I've got to be kind of proud of the team because in most countries I probably would have won the title by now. It's just that PSG are so damn bloody good and it's going to be very, very difficult to topple them. I don't care who you are, it's going to be hard to beat PSG in this season's version or this year's version of Football Manager as it was in last year's and the year before or whatever. PSG are just a very, very good side in real life and are very overpowered in Football Manager. They won the league by 19 points this year. I'm going to see if I can close that gap in Season 3. I've tried to play this save as realistic as possible. Now, some people may have said, oh, that's a bit of a mistake. You should have gone and spent all the money. Rack up as much transfer debt as you possibly can. Get them in £500 million worth of transfer debt because it don't really matter because you're not going to be there after a couple of seasons anyway. I mean, as soon as the new game drops and as soon as I stop playing this save, that's it. I'm not playing it no more. It doesn't matter how much transfer debt Marseille end up with because I won't be playing it. It doesn't really matter. But I try to play every save as realistic as I possibly can. Like I scout players fully and I take recommendations and I don't just go and buy players that I know are going to be good. I scout and I use my scouting centre and the transfer list and stuff like that. I try to play every save as realistic as possible because that's how I enjoy to play the game. It doesn't matter about going out and winning everything in your first and second season. It matters to me about the realism, the immersiveness, and just playing the game as if you were a real football manager kind of thing. So that's how I've done it. I may throw all that out the window and throw caution to the wind for Season 3 though. I may just go out and get the team in a shit ton of debt so that I can bring in the best players I possibly can to try and knock PSG off of their perch. Obviously, this was only ever going to go up until full release of FM24. But because I was ill and stuff and I haven't been able to kind of keep it going as quickly as I wanted to, I'm probably going to play through Season 3 off camera and then film a video at the end of Season 3 to show you a Season 3 review. It may not come before full release. It may come a couple of days after that. But you will get a video to let you know how I've got on in Season 3 and if I did manage to topple PSG. Unfortunately, I haven't got time to record every few months or whatever and come back and show you how we're getting on throughout the season. It's literally just going to be a one-off video to show you how I get on in Season 3. And then the plan is to go 10 years in the future and see if Marseille continued to stay with PSG. Or if I can manage to win the title, can they win another one? You know, or if they do eventually ever win another title in France, or if PSG just continue to dominate for the next century or whatever it is. But anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. There's going to be loads more content coming for FM24. I'm going to be trying my hand at rebuilds. I've got some really good ideas for one-off multi-season videos that might be an hour long or whatever. You never know. I've got a couple of really good ideas. It's just a matter of putting them into practice. And I also will be streaming and I'll be revealing my first FM24 full release save in the very near future. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Till next time. Bye bye for now.